Good afternoon, everyone. With our move to remote teaching, we're going to be switching up the software that we use primarily for our GIS and map layout. We're going to be moving from Esri ArcMap products over to QGIS. Before I get started, again, just apologies for Finding Nemo in the background or kids running in and out. I'll try to edit it out, but it won't always happen. QGIS is a free and open source GIS program. The free part we get, open source part. Open source really refers to how the software is licensed. Open source software is produced by generally large communities of developers that all contribute code to move the project forward. People post code, it gets updated by other users, ultimately leading to releases of QGIS. We're in QGIS version 3 right now. Last year we were in version 3.8. Now we're up to 3.12 or so. Let me go over a couple things before showing you all how to download QGIS. There's a download button right now. If we type in qgis.org, we'll get to a download link here. If we click on Discover QGIS, we come up with a bunch of great resources. If we scroll down here, we have some info about QGIS, some information about the community. This is the group at one of their retreats, the developer group. Information about features, screenshot, case studies, organizations that use GIS, and commercial support for QGIS. And this is how some large organizations will purchase commercial support to support the project. That's how they can make money to keep this thing up and running. Click on this For Users tab up here. We'll see a couple different things. One, quick link to download QGIS. Documentation, and this is really important. The QGIS user guide is pretty handy, but this training manual here, if we open that up, is super duper handy for referencing how to of everything. It's kind of like getting to know ArcGIS, but actually way better and way more useful for QGIS in particular. There are also a bunch of QGIS tutorials out there. If we open that up, we can see a number of QGIS tutorials linked in here. I really like these ones, QGIStutorials.com. If you go in there, there's a whole bunch of QGIS tutorials with links to each of them. And a lot of them really focus on sort of practical applications of QGIS for different professions or end uses. Back over here, information about publications, again, commercial support and plugins. We can keep diving in here, but get involved. This is sort of if you were a developer and you'd like to start participating in the community, this is where you could do so. Let's go back to our main page. We can click on the upper left here. Let's click Download Now. So we're going to scroll down. The browser will recognize what type of operating system you have. So I'm on a Windows computer, so it's giving me options for Windows, or you could also have Mac, OS X, or Linux. Most of us will probably be Mac or Windows. Now, what I would recommend doing is we're not going to use this OSGeo for network installer. We're going to be downloading these standalone installers. Most of your computers at this point will be 64-bit. Some older machines might need to use the 32-bit version. If you're unsure, you can check the operating system of your machine to understand whether you can run a 32 or a 64. If you're 10 years or older, it's probably going to be 32, if I had to guess. What I would recommend doing is going with the long-term release version here rather than the latest release. While this might have the most features, there are still bugs that they're working out with the newest release of 3.12. So I would recommend clicking on this GIS standalone installer version 3.10 if you can. Similarly for Mac, we would not go with the latest release, we'd go with the long-term release right here. And there's no 3264 option in Mac. We'd just go with this one right here. So we would click on that. It's a pretty big download. You would follow all the defaults for installation, and then you should be up and running with Q. If you have any questions on installing Q on your computer, please let me know. I'm happy to work one-on-one with you to debug things. And I've got a whole collection of QGIS videos on this playlist. Please watch all of them. Most of them are pretty short and will allow us to really sort of step through and move through getting back up to speed with QGIS. Thanks, and talk to you soon.